and we have about 8,000 people in town.
Oh, wow.
So please don't judge it.
Yes. That's pretty nifty.
on what it looks like right now.
It was in bad shape before they moved it, wasn't it?
It was in bad shape before they moved it, and I'll tell you, it's not in good shape right now. And that's why I wanted you to see it, because I wanted to talk to you for just a minute. We are in the process of getting a historic structures report, which will give us dollar amounts on authentically restoring the roof, the chimney, some of the things like this that we need to take care of. Once we get that, then that work will begin, and it will be a fundraising effort that will go. It'll go to all the descendants, it'll go to all the people in the region, because a lot of people love this cabin, and we want to keep this cabin right here, and once we get it restored, we want to start opening it on a regular basis for a lot of different things, not only for our organization, which operates the Chester Museum, to use on tours and things like that, but to every weekend, May to October, have a craftsman in here, basket weaver, something like that, something to keep people in the cabin and to keep the Taylor name out there. So we're going to be putting a lot of time and effort into the cabin, and so I wanted you to see it so you understand all the work that we're going to be doing on it. And I'm a little afraid to open the door. Oh, look! Wow! They cleaned it up. They surely did. So right now, if you look up, I know you can't because we've got this queen over the floor. The roof, the shingles along the ridge vent have disintegrated. So we've got a lot of water damage on the roof. So we don't let people upstairs right now.
It's just one big room like this.
It looks exactly the same. Exactly the same. So what we're going to do is we're going to, first of all, fix it. The cabin is not in that bad shape. We just need to do the roof right this time. The roof wasn't done the way it should have been done. The thing about moving this here in '74 is that we know a whole lot more about proper restoration technique now than we did then. So we want to redo the roof, and then we want to redo the chinking. And I think that'd be fun to do with kids, don't you? and then work on the chimney, and then start having regular programs and using the cabin on a regular basis. The thing about this cabin, I call it Jonesboro's vacuum cleaner. And the reason I call it that is if I opened anything on that side, within 5 minutes you'd have 10 people in here. I mean, this cabin, everybody loves it, and everybody wants to be inside it. And that's why it's so important. I mean, this cabin really was, it's the right word for it. It was the way Jonesboro celebrated the beginning of the restoration efforts. And so this cabin is here as a celebration of the history and the heritage and the restoration that Jonesboro has done. So we need to take good care of it, and we need to fix it up. And it hasn't had the attention that it's needed in a while, for whatever reason. But now it does. Now I've got the blessing of the town. The town owns the cabin. I've got the blessing of the town to begin working with it and restoring it. So I think we're going to see a lot of success in the next year to a year and a half in getting this cabin to be the showplace that it ought to be. But think about it. Your ancestor built this on the stage road, and he built it large enough to accommodate stage traffic, because at the time he built it, there wasn't an inn for people to stay in. And stages had to stop when it got dark because it was dangerous out there. So, I like to, particularly with kids, I like to talk about how, here's your kitchen, here's your dining room, there's your bedroom. You know, Mr. and Mrs. Taylor and probably some older kids would have been right down there.
Did they have about 13?
They had, that we can find, they had 10.
10.
10. You know, a lot of the lore says 13, but that we can find there were 10. So 13 people if you count Andrew Jackson living in the house, plus taking stage traffic. So there would have been straw ticks.
That may be where they got the 13.
I think it was. I really think it was. Have you been to the cemetery?
Like leaning down on their shoulder.
Not easy to find.
It's not easy to
A lot of
find.
people didn't know where it is, and we
Yeah.
just had to ask this person, and this person, and this person.
Yeah.
We finally got there, got to the rubber plant. I don't see anything.
Yeah, and then what do you do?
One of the employees said, well, there's a cemetery around back and a little iron fence.
Yeah,
So
that's
we
it.
were around there.
So this is just one of really the few examples left in East Tennessee of quick and dirty pioneer architecture. You know, and it really would have had clapboard siding put up over these logs just as soon as Christopher Taylor could have done it, because the V-notch construction of it wasn't meant to be watertight. It was meant to provide a structure to get a roof over your head.
Quickly.
Yeah, exactly. So,
Still keep most of the elements out.
exactly, yes. And so, you know, they would have put the clapboard siding on it just as quickly as they could. But of course, when it was moved here, the idea was log cabin. And if it had clapboard siding put back over it, it probably wouldn't have the interest from the street, the appeal from the street that it has now. So,
Now, one of my ancestors, one side of my family is Bingham's, and down in Leaper's Fork, near Franklin, his house is still there, and it's logged like this, and it was covered with platinum. And the new owners, they're from what, England?
Mm-hmm.
And they were doing some remodeling. They didn't know it was, so it makes the walls about this thick
I bet.
with all that together. And they didn't know till they
Took
tore
off.
some of the inside coverings off and found all of that.
Yeah, it's beautiful. It's an absolutely beautiful structure, and it can be again. There's no doubt in my mind. We had a structural, we had a guy in here a couple of weeks ago, and he said, you know, really, structurally, you're in good shape. You're in real good shape. It's the roof. And can you imagine? I mean, this dates back to what? 1768, I think. Of course, 1974 when it was moved here, but that's pretty impressive.
And we're still in Tennessee.
Did you ever know where the original setting was?
Other than out there at the rubber factory, no, I don't know.
Well, I saw an old picture of it one time. It looked like it was on a little knoll,
Yeah, I agree.
which might be right where the rubber factory is set, or where the graves are.
Yeah.
And it had a little porch or something on the
It
back.
did. As a matter of fact, we think that's what these notches are. You know, where things were attached. Like there.
Yeah.
And of course, that notch that was delivered when they put in a little piece of plexi in there so people can see the construction.
Something along there, like if I grab a nail here.
Exactly. Looked like there was an L out this way in the photograph that I've seen. Of course, the photograph that I've seen is from the 1940s. So, see what I mean? Hi, how are you?
Hi.